Today, we're diving into some of the best tips and tricks to use your time wisely when playing solo in Ashes of Creation. Because let's face it, regardless of whether or not you're a hardcore grinder or just a casual explorer, your hours in Verra truly do matter. Now, just to be crystal clear, Ashes of Creation is a true social sandbox, and it's designed to really reward cooperation, guild play, group play, and just large scale community moments. When you're grouped up, you almost always progress faster than playing alone. You can kill mobs faster, get more loot, and just across the board, typically, you will progress faster when you are in a group in Ashes of Creation. Let's be honest though, you won't always have a group on standby. Maybe in some cases, you only have an hour or two to jump in, so you just want to play a little bit and then jump offline. Maybe you log in and no friends or guild members are online. Maybe you're just having a really hard time finding a group, or you just want to play alone. That's fine. Sometimes you are going to be alone in this game, and that's what this video is all about. I'm going to be breaking down some of the best activities you can do when you are alone and playing solo in Ashes of Creation. So with that being said, let's jump into it. The first thing I wanted to call out is that one of the best things you can do when playing solo, especially when you are lower leveled, is simply doing quests. So as you open your world map, you're going to see a handful of different circles or numbers or little icons that are basically indicating different locations to either accept or complete certain quests. I highly recommend doing these quests primarily because a lot of these you can only do solo anyways. Sure, maybe in some cases it'll be helpful if you're in a group, but regardless, doing quests is by far one of the best things to do, as well as accepting commission board quests. These are all very easy to do if you are solo. It gives you something to do and allows you to progress your character even further. And I do want to call out the fact that this is probably even the fastest way to level, in my opinion, for the first 10 levels or so in the game. So I do highly recommend that you focus on quests for the first handful of levels in your Ashes of Creation experience, especially if you are playing solo, simply because of all of the rewards that you can get just by completing them. One of probably the most obvious things to focus on when you are playing solo is gathering. So currently, all the gathering methods in Ashes of Creation is solo based, so it's not like I can mine this same rock with someone else and we both get rewards. But down the road, that might actually change. For example, there might be like a two-man saw where both of us can take down a tree together or something along those lines. But currently, all of gathering is solo based, so it's the perfect thing to do if you do find yourself playing alone in Ashes of Creation. Every time you take down a specific gatherable, you gain experience towards that certain gathering artisan skill. So for example, I just took down that tree. I went from 33% to 34%. Also, probably the most important thing is that you actually get raw materials as you gather. This is a great way not only to get materials to process and then eventually craft for your other artisan skills, but also it's just opening up more gold making opportunities because you can sell these on the marketplace to make a quick buck in case someone else does need them. So again, if you find yourself playing alone or only having like an hour or two, consider gathering and even using a consumable to kind of boost up the overall experience that you get towards specific gathering activities. Another thing worth calling out is that if you are playing solo, it's not like you just can't fight mobs. Sometimes fighting mobs alone is the best way to hunt for certain items and glint. Glint, of course, is probably one of the most useful resources in Ashes of Creation because you can use it to either transport certain goods through caravans to then sell to make a ton of gold, or you can sell it directly already to an NPC to make a lot of gold right away. So again, if you do find yourself playing alone, consider finding a nice spot where there's good mobs with good loot tables where not only could you potentially get some glint, but maybe even get lucky and get some gear drops, which could lead to either a upgrade for your own character or even more gold in case you don't need it, because you can simply just sell it to other players that may need it. So again, be sure to focus on mobs that you can solo. Depending on your class, it may be easier or not in some cases. Like the fighter archetype has a ability that allows me to basically have some lifesteal to regain health, kind of rinse and repeat. So I'm not too worried about dying when it comes to like 2 or 3 mobs that are not too overly powerful. But it is kind of important to make sure you call out and target specific mob types based on what you're looking for, whether that's glint, equipment, or even certain quest pieces. Friendly reminder, if you've made it this far in the video, consider hitting that like button and also subscribing for more Ashes of Creation content. Okay, let's jump back into things. The next thing that's worth calling out is simply understanding just overall positioning in Ashes of Creation. And I'm talking about understanding your environment and making sure that you have a way to separate yourself between you and the enemy that you're actually targeting. Some mobs are somewhat easy, kind of like this one right here, where I don't really have to stress that much about how much damage they deal. But once you get to like 2 or 3 star mobs, you're going to have to play a little bit smarter, especially if you are playing solo. You're going to want to make sure you can dodge correctly. You're going to want to make sure you can create distance between you and the enemy quite a bit. And sometimes you can even use your surroundings, like trees or things like that, to wrap them around and slow them down a little bit. This is especially helpful when there's like buildings or hills or just things in the way to kind of truly impact the overall pathing of the mobs that you're hitting. So keep this in mind, especially if you are solo, because you're going to find cases where you are fighting multiple elite star, elite mobs, where you just need to make sure you can actually defeat them alone, or else you're going to end up dying. And this is a friendly reminder too, you do not want to die in this game. If you die in Ashes of Creation, you will pick up experience step that you have to regain in order to kind of break even there. And you will get debuffed in regards to your stats if you have experience step at max level. So don't think you can cheese the system if you are currently level 25, which is the current cap, and pick up XP depth, because it will hurt you. Plus, you will drop 50% of the materials in your inventory. Yes, you can go back to the place you died and pick up your ashes, but that's only going to pick up 25% of the total inventory. So realistically, half your inventory could drop, and you can pick up half of it if you walk back and pick up your ashes before they disappear or someone else loots it. The last thing that I'll mention is that if you do find yourself playing solo, maybe the best thing you can do is just do some shopping. You can either look for certain pieces of gear for upgrades or even some gold making opportunities, because you can basically buy low and sell high. Most nodes, depending on the actual level of them, have this marketplace option where other players will be able to post items for sale, allowing you to purchase them. Sometimes they are high quality materials, sometimes it's refined goods that I can just buy and then use for crafting, sometimes it's certain ingredients to kind of use to create treasure maps, for example, sometimes it's gear. It's honestly a little bit of everything, and you can buy or sell depending on what you want to do. I tend to visit the marketplace every single day, a few times per day, simply because in many cases people will sell things a little bit cheaper than they should, where you can then buy it, repost it on the marketplace, and make some gold in the process. And that covers it. If you guys enjoyed the video, learned something new, or just now have a better understanding of what to do when you're playing alone, then consider hitting that like button or even subscribing for some more Ashes of Creation content. Thanks again, and I'll catch you guys later.